Harmonious Ashrams. Bhakti doesn't depend on ashram. Once I was in Assam with my Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja. At that time, there were about 40 brahmacharis and 10 sannyasis in our group. One day, one of the brahmacharis gave class and said that all householders are rotten. He told his audience, householders have nothing to do with bhakti. We brahmacharis and sannyasis are strong. We can preach and do bhakti, but these rotten householders cannot. None of the sannyasis were in the class when the brahmachari spoke in that way, but we heard about it afterwards and informed Srila Gurudev. He at once became furious and told that brahmachari, "You are rotten. You have no connection with bhakti. You don't know any siddhanta. Most of our acharyas were married, and so was Krsna himself, because he was married in Dwarka. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srinivas Acharya, and all of the gopis were married. Are they rotten? The Pandavas were householders. Are they rotten? Oh, you are especially rotten. You are not even a Vaishnava. I don't think you have taken initiation at all." After this incident, everyone became very careful, understanding that advancement in bhakti depends only on bhakti itself. Yai bhaje sei bodo abhakta hi nachar, Krishna bhajane nahi jati kulladi vichar. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Leela 4:67. Anyone who takes to devotional service is exalted, but non-devotees are always condemned and abominable. Advancement in bhakti has nothing whatever to do with family prestige and one's position in society. Kiba vipra kiba nyasi shudra kene nai, sei Krishna tattva veta, sei Guru hai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 8:128. One may be a brahmana, a sannyasi, or even a shudra. In any case, no matter what his status, if he really knows the science of Krishna, he is actually Guru. One may be a grihastha, a brahmachari, a sannyasi, or in any position. If he knows the established philosophical truths, the philosophy of the love and affection that was taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is a pure devotee. Everyone in our line, from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Param Pujya Pad, Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja, and myself, takes this view. We do not think all the grihasthas are rotten and they have nothing to do with bhakti. In fact, I actually prefer the grihastha devotees if they are more polite than the sannyasis. Sannyasis sometimes have a great false ego and think, I am learned, I am a sannyasi. If they have this conception, they are sure to fall down. All the sannyasis with such false egos have fallen down. They may return to the path of bhakti if they have not offended any Vaishnava. If they have not left the teachings of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāja and his parampara, that is, the Vaishnava line coming from Srila Rupa Gosvāmī. However, those who are offending their Guru and other Vaishnavas cannot return. It is very harmful for any sannyasi, brahmachari, or grihastha to offend a Vaishnava. I think that for the most part, grihasthas do not commit offenses because they are afraid of what will happen if they do so. But nowadays, sannyasis and brahmacharis are not at all afraid of committing offenses. In fact, many are desperate to commit offenses. They commit offenses one after another, again and again. They have no fear at all. Whereas grihasthas are somewhat polite and think, we don't know anything. We are in family life. so we don't have so much association with high-class Vaishnavas. Consequently, they respect Vaishnavas. Householders are more tolerant and advanced in devotion to Krishna than many modern sannyasis. They cannot give up the renounced order and fall down because they have not accepted the renounced order in the first place. Sannyasis sometimes give up their renunciation. They tell others to be careful regarding women and to give up their wives and children. Then, after saying this, they themselves become lusty and associate with women in the mood of sensual enjoyment. Sometimes a preacher may say as a point of reference, "Don't be lusty, don't be angry," without criticizing anyone. But if he criticizes others, then all the bad qualities that he describes will come on his head and in his heart. Always glorify Krishna, Gurudev, the Vaishnavas, the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, and especially the pastimes of Nityananda Prabhu. Be careful. Do not criticize even if one does something to be criticized. Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Thakur once sent some devotees to preach in East Bengal, where they preached very successfully. When they asked him what he wanted them to do, he replied, "I'll be very happy if you establish a preaching center, and when you are ready, I will come there with many devotees." Accordingly, they worked day and night to prepare the preaching center, expertly arranging all kinds of facilities so that Srila Prabhupada would come there and be happy. They made a temple in that center, with deities ready to be installed by him. Srila Prabhupada arrived at the temple at midday and was very pleased to see everything they had done. He then asked, "Where is the Brahmacari who came here first and worked so hard?" They told him, "Oh Gurudev, at first that devotee was a good Brahmacari, but later he became entangled with a lady. We rebuked him so much for his behavior that he fled from here." Srila Prabhupada replied, "I do not want to establish a preaching center here, nor do I want to install the deities. You know, in this world it takes hundreds of gallons of blood to rescue a person from the clutches of Maya. If that Brahmachari made some mistake, it would have been washed away by his chanting and service to Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas. But you have chastised him and he has gone away. So I don't want to make a center here. Search for him and bring him to me. Otherwise I will leave." All the disciples became anxious and they began searching everywhere for that Brahmachari. Hayagriva Brahmachari somehow discovered his whereabouts. He apologized to that Brahmachari. "Please excuse me. Srila Prabhupada is very unhappy with us. Please come with me." The Brahmachari began to weep, crying out, "Srila Prabhupada is so merciful. I was working here in a watch company, but I was not happy. I wanted to return, but I was thinking, how can I show my face? That is why I did not come back. But Srila Prabhupada has called me. What endless mercy he has. He is more merciful than Lord Krishna." He immediately went running and weeping to Srila Prabhupada. He fell flat at his Guru Maharaja's lotus feet and all his anarthas were washed away in a moment. So, do not criticize anyone, neither devotees nor even worldly people. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 11:28, 1-2. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Parasvabhava Karmani Na Prashamse Nagarayet Vishvam Ekamakam Pashyan Prakritya Purushena Cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one should neither praise nor criticize the conditioned nature and activities of other persons. Rather, one should see this world as nothing more than the combination of material nature and the enjoying souls, all based on the one absolute truth. Parasvabhava karmani ya prashamsati nindati sa ashu bhrashyate svartad asati abhiniveshata. Whoever indulges in praising or criticizing the qualities and behavior of others will quickly become deviated from his own best interests by his entanglement in illusory dualities. Do not glorify worldly people, whether they are good or bad. If you do so, all their bad activities will come to you and your life will be spoiled. It is very, very difficult to bring someone from the clutches of Maya. Whatever lust and other attachments are present in that person's heart will go away very soon, if he is chanting and remembering and listening to Harikatha. Be very careful. First, look at your own condition and try to purify yourself. Is there any lust in you? Is there any deceit and hypocrisy in you? Be worried about that. Do not worry about others. Guru and Krishna are responsible for others. You cannot do anything to help them, so you have no right to criticize. This instruction is for all. We are human beings. Why should we take flesh or eggs? Eggs are like wombs. If we engage in sinful activities, we will surely have to taste the reactions. This is very serious, very serious. If you abuse someone, he will abuse you. If you give others a slap, others will slap you. If you tell someone, I will poke out your eyes, he will do the same to you. So be very humble, very polite, and very sweet to all, especially to Krishna. I encourage you all to do Nagar Sankirtan in your area, preaching well and behaving very well. In this way, everyone will trust you, and they will also trust Krishna. I desire that all householders who are initiated by me become strong in their family life. Husbands not divorcing their wives, and wives not divorcing their husbands. All husbands chaste to their wives, and wives chaste to their husbands. There may be some problem or some difference of opinion, but I request that it be easily solved. Always be very tolerant. Otherwise, while traveling to Vrindavan, you may quarrel with each other, and from there you will have to return to your homes in the west. You will not reach Vrindavan. So be tolerant. Don't quarrel. Don't divorce each other. Be happy. Always be very strong and help newcomers. I want all my householders to be like Yashodanandan and Anangamohini. How loving they are to each other. Both are independent, but both are cooperating. Yashodanandan has given all kinds of freedom to Anangamohini. She considers that only half is hers and that all is for her husband, and Yashodanandana thinks the same way towards her. Our singer, Krishna Kanta, and his wife Yogamaya are so beautifully helping each other. Giving everything to me, their only problem is how can we attain the mercy of our Gurudev? I request that all householders become like them, like Srivas Pandit, like Srinivas Acharya, and like Shamananda Prabhu. They were all householders and they had no problems. Our only problem should be, how and where can I have Krishna's darshan? Only this, nothing else. If you are householders, be like Prahlad Maharaj, and if you have no wife and children, then be like Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Even in family life, Prahlad never wanted anything from Krishna. He always saw his worshipful deity everywhere and in everything, and helped the children and the demons to be very bona fide devotees. As far as Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is concerned, he had nothing to do with opulence. All the teachings and moods of Prahlad Maharaj were situated in the dust of the lotus feet of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, who was always and only immersed in Vraj Prem, Gopi Prem, service to Sri Sri Radha Krishna. His renunciation was only for this. If you want to become pure devotees, you can follow Prahlad Maharaj, but more so, try to follow Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami's character and devotion is topmost, but we cannot realize this at present. Therefore, we first imbibe all the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, and if we have the association of a Tattva Gyan Rasik Vaishnava in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we will then be able to follow Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami used to take the remnants of Jagannath, but only those remnants that were rejected by even the cows. He used to happily take this. What was the reason? He rejected the tasteful prasadam of Jagannath Dev. He rejected standing at Singhadwar and waiting to see if anyone would give him some prasadam, and he rejected everything his father offered him. His father told him, "You can do bhajan, but at the same time I want to help by sending you a brahmana as a servant. The brahmana will cook for you and give you very excellent prasadam. This is appropriate because you are my son, the son of a king." Why did he refuse his father's offer? So that he could be a bona fide devotee. He considered that if he would take anything tasty, he would end up filling his stomach to the brim, thus calling for many problems. Rather, he used to take rotten Jagannath prasadam, so rotten that it had been rejected even by the cows. He used to wash it with water and then add 1 or 2 grains of salt. He considered that if he would take tasteful prasadam, he would end up taking more. He would then have to sleep, then wake up and search for more. If you want to be devotees, then try to learn all these principles. In that way, you will solely remember Sri Sri Radha Krishna and Gaur Nityananda Prabhu. Krishna will then take all your requirements on his head and carry them to you. If you are not doing anything for your maintenance and only observing these principles, he will be very anxious for you. He will take upon his head all your requirements and bring them to you. You can make an experiment and test my words. Don't eat anything for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Just chant, remember, and serve. You will see that Krishna will somehow arrange everything for you. He is funny. Somehow he will arrange. If you have no trust in my words, then make an experiment and see for yourself. I am looking and I am seeing, although you are unaware, he is doing everything. Regarding those who do not follow these principles, Krishna will be very far away. Gramya katha na sunibe, gramya varta na kahibe, bhala na khaibe ar bhala na paribe. Amani manadahana Krishna nama sadalabe, braje radha Krishna seva manasa karibe. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Leela 6, 236 and 237. Do not talk like people in general or hear what they say. You should not eat very palatable food, nor should you dress very nicely. Do not expect honor, but offer all respect to others. Always chant the holy name of Lord Krishna, and within your mind render service to Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu instructed Raghunath Das Goswami, "Don't take delicious, rich foodstuffs, otherwise you will not be able to control your senses. Avoid decorating yourself with expensive, opulent dresses, and always engage internally in the service of Radha and Krishna." Mahaprabhu continued, "Markat vairagya na karalok dekhana, yatha yogya vishaya bhunja anasakta hana." Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 16:238. You should not make yourself a show-off devotee and become a false renunciate. For the time being, enjoy the material world in a befitting way and do not become attached to it. Antare nishtha kara bahye loka vyavhar, achirat Krishna tomae karibe uddhar. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 16:239. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "Within your heart, you should keep yourself very faithful, but externally you may behave like an ordinary man. Thus, Krishna will soon be very pleased and deliver you from the clutches of Maya." Don't show your bhakti, your devotion for Radha and Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Keep this in your heart and outwardly speak in this way to others. Are you okay? How are you? How are your children? I have so much affection for them. Mahaprabhu further instructed Raghunath Das, "Don't put your faith in the external." But that is what we are doing. We maintain so many attachments and we have so much affection to those attachments. We don't give our hearts internally. In making an offering to Krishna, we say offhandedly, "O Krishna, you should take this thing." We chant Hare Krishna in Kirtan like monkeys dancing. If our faith is in externals and not in the internal, then what happens internally? We get the opposite of spiritual life. Those of you who have been kicked out by your wives or whose wives have died, be renounced with no anxieties or problems. Your only problem should be this: "O Krishna, where are you?" Then you will be very strong. Don't be greedy to eat the very big laddu that's representing sense gratification. This is very dangerous, very poisonous. Always try to engage yourself in Krishna consciousness. The lady's duty is to create a peaceful environment in the house. In India, we find many examples of courageous women, such as Lakshmi Bai, the famous Queen of Jhansi, and others who sacrifice so much for their country and society. Ladies are not only responsible for cooking and bearing children, it is incumbent upon them to also see that their children become learned in Bhagavad Bhakti and strong and courageous like Bhim and Arjun. Mothers have more responsibility than fathers, for they must teach their children about Bhagavan and Bhakti from the children's earliest years. Their children should be taught Vedic culture and should be protected from atheistic influence. Women play a very responsible role in educating children. Men have their own part to play, and it is essential that they also treat women with respect. It is important for them to avoid thinking of women as mere servants of the house or as simply meant for bearing children. Vedic personalities such as Lord Ramachandra and the Pandavas have shown how to respect women. India should reflect the principles of Sanatan Dharma that prevailed when the Pandavas ruled the world. These principles should never become weak. Similarly, Sanatan Dharma must prevail in Fiji because Fiji is like India on a small scale. My dear sons, daughters, mothers and fathers, please follow the teachings of Sanatan Dharma. Everyone will be happy and the society and country will be at peace. Be enthusiastic at the time of hearing, remembering, serving the Lord's lotus feet, or pada sevanam, and worship of the deity of the Lord, or archanam. Cooking is also archanam. Don't be neutral, unenthusiastic at any time. This is the symptom of bhakti. To first please Guru and then to please Sri Krishna. How will you know that Guru is happy with your activities? Oh, he will know. You can hide from yourself but not from Guru. In his Bhagavad Arka Marichi Mala, Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur emphasizes that we continue to practice sadhan bhakti with firm determination. And in this regard, we have the historic example of the Tridandi Bhikshuka. When that sannyasi went begging in his native place, some of the residents would take his water pot, kamandalu, and pass urine in it. They would break his danda, insult him, put stool on his head, and call him dongi sannyasi, or bogus imitation sannyasi. Still, he was very tolerant. He continued to go begging there again and again without caring about the insults. Similarly, if any bad person cheats you, it's best to think no harm. Be tolerant if someone insults you or pushes you so that you fall down, or even acts with violence or extreme envy towards you. Srila Haridas Thakur was beaten and tortured, and Prahlad Maharaja's enemies tried to kill him, but they remained tolerant. Be tolerant. If someone spits on you, ties you up, forcibly takes away your entire wealth by cheating you, or steals from you before your eyes. If someone urinates on your head or body, still be tolerant and continue performing bhakti with enthusiasm. Don't be hopeless, thinking, I should not continue. Everyone, please hear this carefully. Sannyasis should especially take note of this, and among sannyasis, senior sannyasis most of all. If you are tolerant in these cases and continue developing your bhakti, Krishna will be very soon pleased with you. He will be happy and Gurudev will be happy. You will also be happy and you will achieve your goal. Sometimes I see that you are bewildered in these cases. You do not know what to do or what not to do. In this regard, Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur has collected verses in his Bhagavad Arka Marichi Mala. Śrīmad Bhagavatam relates the life and character of the Tridandi sannyasi, and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita tells the history of Srila Haridas Thakur and others. Be like them. This is sadhana. Be very strong at the time of sadhana. Following the examples in the life histories I have mentioned, I see that some persons become hopeless and give up bhakti, thinking, bhakti is nothing. Why do so many calamities and sufferings come? I should give up. Don't give up.